Now at 9, a transitional house opens in Neosho, Missouri to help people experiencing homelessness. Plus, how the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office is keeping people's homes safe while they're on vacation. And a ribbon cutting in Parsons, Kansas launches a new fitness court at Forest Park.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. A ribbon cutting in Southwest Missouri is a step in a plan to help people dealing with homelessness. The Restoration Life Center has given many homeless people a second chance at life. And as KOAM's Melissa Alexis shows us, they've now opened a new shelter in Neosho for those in need.
I've had periods of time that I've picked food up off the ground and I've dumpster dived for food.
Homelessness is a battle that Karen Holsinger fought for 7 years after she became addicted to methamphetamine and could no longer afford housing.
Often on the streets, mostly on and addicted to the dope and feeling very hopeless.
Through her struggle, she began to feel like things may never improve.
I was just completely done. I checked myself in for a psychiatric stay.
Everything changed when Holsinger found shelter at Restoration Life Center, where she's now a case manager. And with the new transitional shelter opening today in Neosho, the director of the shelter hopes to give more people a chance to turn their lives around.
We want to see people become productive members of society and just learn that they are loved and they are worthy.
Productive members of society like Holsinger, who hopes the new transitional shelter will give others the same opportunities it gave her. Reporting in Neosho, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The shelter not only offers housing, but resources for the residents to reform their lives and become independent. Bed space at the transitional shelter is given on a first-come, first-served basis. Well, Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joining us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. We did get a few isolated little thunderstorms out there, but temperatures pretty good. 85 for a high. Average high is 90, so about 5 degrees below where we should be. Record 102 on this day. But if you haven't been outside, it actually feels pretty good. Low to mid 70s, still some upper 70s once you get into our western counties. We've had a couple isolated little thunderstorms kind of push through, but now we look pretty good. There's one little thunderstorm near Bentonville. Besides that, pretty calm as we go through the night. We'll drop back to about 64 degrees, rebound back to 80 by 10 a.m. Random isolated storms over the next couple days, so we're going to be chatting about that. 90s return Thursday and Friday. We get near 90 tomorrow. Possible triple-digit heat moving in next week, and not a whole bunch in the way of rainfall in the forecast. We're going to be breaking it down for you here in a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. Well, Joplin police say the driver of a tractor trailer is dead after a rollover crash. It happened around 9:50 this morning at mile marker 13 on I-44 eastbound. Authorities say the semi left the roadway, struck the median cable barriers, and rolled over. The driver died at the scene. The crash caused interstate traffic to be impacted for more than 9 hours. The newest online feature of the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office could keep your home safe while you're away on vacation. Residents can fill out a home away form requesting extra patrolling around their home. The community outreach deputy developed the new form. That position was created in January. As Sheriff Deputy Nate Jones says, this is just one feature of the county's new crime mapping system.
The form went up late last week. We tested it throughout the late last week and weekend, and so we're really trying to push it out to the citizens now.
You can find the form on the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office website. The Webb City Police Department is making sure local kids can easily be identified in an emergency. They handed out free child identification kits today at the Webb City Farmers Market. The kits include a card parents can fill out with information about the child, including their address and medical information. It can help authorities easily reunite a child with their parents if they get lost.
So a lot of parents kind of forget or are unaware of some of the things needed if a child goes missing. So it kind of helps us collect all the information we'd need to recover the child as quickly and as safely as possible. So this card is kind of just a guideline. It also allows us to have the fingerprints on file, hospital records, stuff like that that we would need to know if something was to happen to the child.
If you missed tonight's farmers market, you can pick up a kit at the Webb City Police Department. Well, after a busy holiday weekend, police are reminding parents to make sure their child knows what to do in case they're separated from you at an event. Before heading out, go over what your kid needs to do if they get lost. Tell them to find a trusted adult, preferably a police officer, but an employee in uniform works too. And make sure they know your contact information so they can repeat it to the adult.
Teach them their name, your name, their phone number. Regularly practice that so that they can repeat it back to you. And again, if they can't recall that information, always have it written down somewhere, whether it's in their pocket, write it on their arm or on a wristband. That way, if you do get separated, we have a way to get in contact with the parents.
They also say all children should know their address and their parents' phone number. And it's not a bad idea to teach your kid how to call 911 as well. And that way they know how to get help, whether they're lost or not. Some Republican candidates running for office in Jasper County met with constituents this evening. The group Republican Women of Jasper County held their annual ice cream social at the Carthage Memorial Hall. Local and state office candidates were invited. Organizers say the goal is to encourage women in Jasper County to participate in the political process. The city of Parsons today cut the ribbon for the opening of an outdoor fitness court at Forest Park. The fitness court provides a way for users to leverage their body weight to get a complete workout at 7 workout stations. It's designed for adults of any age and ability.
So we know that a huge part of being healthy is having access to places to go to be physically active, to get nutritious foods, to come together so that you are able to be a part of a community. And what's great about these fitness courts is they really do serve that piece of being able to have free access to physical activity.
And users can also download the free Fitness Court app, which acts as a sort of coach in your pocket. Well, coming up, how some Northwest Arkansas hospitals are using state money to be more sustainable. It's a mixed bag for children's nutrition scores. A study in JAMA Pediatrics found total dietary quality scores for kids in the U.S. The scores improved overall in a 15-year period ending in 2020. But that bump up was small. Lower socioeconomic status has been associated with poor dietary quality. Researchers found an increasing trend more pronounced among Black children. Well, a new study out of Weill Cornell Medicine and New York Presbyterian backs RSV vaccination during late pregnancy in order to protect newborns. Using real-world data, researchers found vaccinating mothers against RSV was not associated with an increased risk of preterm birth or other poor outcomes. Infants are especially vulnerable to RSV. Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders announced last week multiple rural hospitals in the state are receiving millions of dollars from her rural hospital sustainability program. Now, 3 of those hospitals are in Northwest Arkansas. Hayden Savage shows us how they plan to use the money to ensure they're sustainable for years to come.
Governor Sarah Sanders' Rural Hospital Sustainability Program has been in the works for more than a year now. The program had one goal: help hospitals in rural areas keep their doors open. One of the participants in the program is Mountain Home's Baxter Health. Throughout the last few years, Baxter's emergency department has only gotten busier, with more patients rushing in by the day.
Over the past 10 years, we've increased about 3% a year, so that starts to add up. And it seems like this year we've definitely been on a growth pattern.
The hospital will use the money to revamp its emergency department and add more rooms.
Going from 23 to 29 rooms, being able to have 5 urgent care, fast-track type rooms that will help patients that are not quite that true trauma patient or emergent patient be able to come in and get out quicker.
Another participant in the program is Fulton County Hospital in Salem. It had been operated by the county until August of last year, when Baxter Health stepped in to keep the hospital from closing.
They had implemented a new financial system. They were having a lot of difficulties sending their financial bills out to the insurance companies. and so the cash flow was very limited.
To help Baxter step in, the governor allocated state American Rescue Plan funds to the hospital system. Now the governor is given an additional $2.5 million, which will be used to update the hospital from when it was built in 1963.
No electrical update had been done to that since 1963.
Baxter says the hospital must remain open because if you don't have local health care, many won't travel far to receive it.
If you're 85 years old and you have to drive 3 hours to get health care on a routine basis, you're not going to go, and so you're not going to get that care.
That's why the most recent funds from the state are crucial to the sustainability of both hospitals for the future.
What we believe is this gives us the money to invest in the future so that we can be sustainable and be here to serve our patients.
Well, Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Joplin Outlaws take on the hottest team in the Mid-America League, the Fort Smith Marshals.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice one for us today. Mid-80s for afternoon highs. We did have a few isolated little thunderstorms that popped up during the afternoon hours, but those have pretty much fallen apart now that we've lost the heating of the day. Looks good. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam. We're looking at 7th and Joplin Street off toward the north and to the east. Evening daylight hours starting to shrink up a little bit. Of course, in the summer months, we lose daylight, summer, fall, all the way until the first day of winter. All right, a few isolated thunderstorms kind of rotated through earlier today. They dropped some decent amounts of rain. If you got stuck underneath one of them, pretty much all gone now, so we're quiet as we go through the overnight hours tonight. We're still watching the circulation of what once was Hurricane Beryl, which is pushing up through the Ohio River Valley. Still a lot of tornadoes associated with it once again today, but most of us are looking pretty good. Now on the back side, look at the upper level winds right out of Canada, and that's why we're a little bit cooler for us today. But of course, we're going to start to heat up. Let me show you why. The circulation rotates away. Watch the area of high pressure builds in. Late this week, we're going through the weekend, getting closer, building in all the way through the beginning of next week. Finally starts to break down a little bit by the time we get into the middle of next week. So we're just going to heat up until that point in time. The next Wednesday, a cold front will slice on through and hopefully cool us down just a little bit. But look at our temps. Pretty good. 74 Stockton, 76 in Anderson. Miami 78, Oswego 77. We have Pittsburgh sitting at 75. Let's go outside. 7th and Rangeline sitting at 74. Winds are pretty much calm and will stay that way as we go through the overnight hours. Let me take you through time tonight. Dropping back 63, 64 degrees. As we go through the morning, quick warm up, mid-80s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, most of us 89, 90 degrees. 85 in Monette, 89 at Grand Lake, Chanute up to about 90 degrees. Tomorrow night looks pretty calm. May get a few clouds in here late, maybe an isolated thunder shower by the time we head into Thursday morning, starting into the upper 60s. As we go into Thursday, especially in the afternoon, we're going to have some hit and miss pop-up showers and thunderstorms, kind of like what we've seen over the past couple days, maybe a little bit more widespread on Thursday, and then these will die down once we lose the heating of the day once again by Thursday evening. So only something to watch over the next couple days. 67 to start, 86 by noon, high temp, right around 89 degrees. Then it starts to get a little bit hotter. We go into the mid-90s by Friday, and then we slowly start to creep up that scale as we work into the weekend. 89 tomorrow, still not bad. The humidity is not going to be too high. 93 on Thursday, some hit and miss storms. 95 Friday, 96 Saturday, 98 Sunday, and then a couple triple-digit days, and then hopefully cool back down with some rain the middle part of next week.
Thank you for giving us 2 days on there where it just dips below the 90s. I like that.
It's for middle of July, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it seems less painful that way.
It does.
And then just keep those 3-digit numbers away. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, young actors are working on a production of Robin Hood. The Bolus Fine Arts Center in Iola is partnering with Missoula Children's Theater to host a camp for the kids to practice the play. And we sent photojournalist Ty Parks to check it out.
Robin Hood, go find that Robin. Robin Hood. It just allows the children of Iola and really Allen County and kind of surrounding areas, even like Woodson or Neosho County, to come here and start learning the basics about theater. It allows just those that may not have this opportunity on a normal basis. Missoula comes in and they bring in 2 professionals, and the 2 of them work together and they lead different groups. And over the process of a week, we go from auditions to a full stage production.
I didn't know you were here!
We like it that way!
Musical performance is Robin Hood. It's not necessarily the same take on Robin Hood. Missoula does their own little, like they take the idea of Robin Hood and then they turn it into their own musical performance.
We're on the trail. And you do 4 steps that way.
We're doing children's theater, and in the camp counselors I had were the people that really stuck with me and wanted me to continue doing this, and so being able to be the light for another kid, honestly, is the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, I think being able to teach kids, and sometimes this is their very first experience in theater in general, and just either seeing kids find a love for that or just maybe get to come out of their shell, or it's just giving kids another chance to try something new.
The ancient oak that knows no folk!
Different creative ways to teach different ages of children the material that we do. So sometimes, you know, certain things take more repetition depending on age or not. And it's kind of just learning to read the room and figure out like who needs more time with something, or, oh, we're good. Yeah, let's keep on going.
And we all go, hee, because you're so sneaky. Whenever that one kid comes up to you and they're like, this is the best week ever, I had so much fun. And like being able to see them just like being their element on stage, and like seeing them with their parents being so proud after, like it's so rewarding to watch the kids enjoy the process and have a good time and gain so much from it. Like this isn't for us, it's purely for them.
Yeah.
Hello, my fine foresters!
Well, the campers will put their practice to the test with a performance of the play on Saturday at 2 p.m. Looks like it'll be a lot of fun. Coming up, more trouble for Boeing.
Boeing wants to plead guilty to a criminal charge, but the victims' families are asking the court to order a trial. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with the details coming up.
Families of the Boeing 737 victims are lashing out at the federal government. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
We have to demand that they do better, and there is no alternative.
Plenty of anger from families of Boeing 737 victims, a day after the company agreed to plead guilty to a criminal charge related to its conduct after the crash of 2 737 MAX jetliners, killing 346 people. The Justice Department says Boeing will pay almost $750 million in fines and safety upgrades, in addition to being officially labeled a corporate felon. But most of the families say that doesn't go far enough.
Boeing has still never changed their behavior. The basic situation which caused our daughter's death is the same. There are still avionic, hydraulic, and electrical problems with these planes.
They're now urging a federal judge to reject the plea deal, which would almost guarantee a criminal trial, something the families have been pushing for since 2019, saying it's the only way to fully hold Boeing accountable.
Boeing does not make little red wagons. They make extremely complex vehicles that the public trusts with their lives and their children's lives.
Just hours after the plea deal was announced, another dangerous safety incident. The wheel of a Boeing 757 plane falling off during takeoff from Los Angeles International Airport. You can see it here flying down the runway. Luckily, the flight was able to land safely in Denver.
I feel like that's something that has to be checked periodically. Like that should not be.
The Pentagon says it will take a look at Boeing's safety improvement plan before moving forward with any defense contracts. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Well, interest rates are expected to stay put for at least a little longer. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell today appeared before the Senate Banking Committee to give his semi-annual monetary policy report. Powell said Fed officials want to see more progress before they start reducing the cost of borrowing. Last year, the Fed's key interest rate reached a high not seen in more than 2 decades. Record-breaking heat is gripping parts of the nation, leaving many Americans to seek refuge indoors with their air conditioning on full blast. To save money, many families often turn off their AC units when leaving the house. But according to a recent article in the Wall Street Journal, it's actually cheaper to keep them on, especially if you'll only be gone for a few hours. And there are other things you can do to save money on those electricity bills.
Try to keep your resting home temperature around 78 degrees. That might seem a little high for people, but the idea is really just maybe a couple of degrees warmer than you're used to, and you'll really see the effects at the end of the month. And try to pump it up a little bit at night. The Department of Energy recommends around 82 degrees at night, and then about 85 degrees when you leave the house, so it doesn't have to work so hard to get back.
Experts also recommend sealing gaps around windows or doors, keeping inside doors open for circulation, closing blinds and curtains, and shifting electrical activity from peak hours. Up next, kids in Vernon County, Missouri show off their hard work at the annual Youth Fair. The Vernon County Youth Fair in Nevada, Missouri gets into full swing with a week of fun and activities. Today, kids from the 4-H program began getting their livestock show ready, while sheep and goats were weighed in. Now, the preparation is to show off and sell the animals throughout the week, and as always, the public is invited.
If you haven't been familiar with the fair, I would say just come and visit anytime during day or night, because there's always something going on and there's always people you can talk to. Ask questions, don't be afraid to just put yourself out there, see what people have to say, because everyone has a different perspective and everyone's perspective is all important.
On Friday, the fair will hold one of the largest rabbit shows in Missouri. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. President Biden hosts a NATO summit as he tries to regain support from his party in his race for re-election. Plus, jury selection begins for the manslaughter trial of actor Alec Baldwin.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. President Biden is back on the world stage. Questions have been swirling about his health, and many are calling for him to step aside from the race. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the details of this crucial NATO summit.
It's another high-stakes test for President Joe Biden, under constant scrutiny since his concerning debate performance against former President Trump. This time, he's hosting the leaders of other NATO countries at a summit in Washington. The Biden administration is hoping to reassure allies the president is healthy and isn't going anywhere.
I'm not aware of anyone raising concerns with the secretary or anyone else from the State Department about the president.
The 75th anniversary of NATO here, all of our guests from around the world. What we're projecting from the White House is not strength right now, at a very dangerous time around the world.
Ukraine will likely be a top issue at the summit. Democrats argue former President Trump won't be as supportive as he has been critical of NATO in the past.
We in the Senate will send President Zelensky and our NATO allies the same message we have shared from day one. America will never turn its back on you. The same cannot be said for Donald Trump.
Heading into the summit, Biden officials still facing a barrage of questions.
If the national security team needs to get to the president, they get to the president. And it doesn't matter what the hour on the clock says. He's always there, he's always available, and they have ready access to him.
At the end of the NATO summit later this week, President Biden will hold a rare and highly anticipated press conference, taking questions directly from reporters. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Well, former U.S. Senator from Oklahoma Jim Inhofe passed away today at the age of 89 after suffering a stroke. Inhofe had a 55-year political career, with nearly 30 of those spent as Oklahoma's U.S. Senator, a record for the Sooner State. He was the top GOP member on the Senate Armed Services Committee and a former chair of the Senate Environment and Public Works Committee. Prior to Inhofe's time in the Senate, he served in the House for 7 years. He was also the mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma, for 6 years. Jury selection has been going on all day in Santa Fe, New Mexico for actor Alec Baldwin's trial in the fatal shooting of a cinematographer. Baldwin is charged with involuntary manslaughter after a prop gun he was holding went off, killing Helena Hutchins while filming the movie Rust in 2021. The jury must decide whether Baldwin committed a felony when the gun he was pointing at Hutchins fired and killed her. Baldwin has pleaded not guilty, insisting he did not pull the trigger.
I would be surprised if they're able to impanel a jury that is not familiar with Mr. Baldwin's work as an actor. People may allow that to affect their decision one way or the other.
If found guilty, the actor could face 18 months in prison. A bit later, we'll learn how researchers in Florida are taking deep sea exploration to new depths.
Well, of course, not a bad Tuesday for us today. The past couple days, temperatures have actually been pretty good across the region. We look good right now. Nice shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex Tower Cam downtown Joplin, looking off toward the north into the east. Pretty quiet out there. It's going to stay pretty quiet for us tonight. We've had a few isolated little thunderstorms kind of drop through during the evening hours. Now we're good. We're going to stay dry. We've lost the heating of the day, so any thunderstorms that bubbled up are going to be pretty much gone from this point on. We're still watching the remnants, and that's why we got those little thunderstorms, the remnants of what once was Hurricane Beryl, which is barreling up through the Ohio River Valley, heading away from us. And on the back side, in this trough, we got northwesterly winds out of Canada, so that's why it's been a little bit cooler as we've gone through the past couple days. It's just not going to last for very long. Our trough rolls east. As we get into the weekend, high pressure starts to build in, meaning we are dry, we're getting hotter all the way through the beginning of next week, and then finally, area of high pressure breaks down a little bit by the middle of next week. But we are going to slowly warm up as we go through the next few days. 70 in Monette, 75 in Pittsburgh, still 81 Independence. We have Welch checking in at 76 degrees. Let's go outside. Here's 7th. Here's Rangeline sitting at 74. Winds are pretty much calm. We'll stay that way through the overnight hours tonight. Let's go through time. I'm going to stop tomorrow morning, mid-60s. Quick warm up into the mid-80s by noon. And then once we get into the afternoon, I think most of us are going to be 88, 89, or 90 degrees. Tomorrow night, pretty calm till after midnight. A little bit of a wave drops in, may get an isolated shower or two. Not a big deal. As we go into Thursday morning, another quick warm up into lower 90s and some isolated thunderstorms popping up Thursday evening. Very hit and miss, kind of like what we've seen over the past couple days, but they are going to be dropping through. And then once we lose the heating of the day again, then they're going to roll right on out of here. And then we start over on Friday. Day planner tomorrow, 67 in the morning, 86 by noon. High temp, 89, quite a bit of sunshine. But let's look at that warm up. So as we go into the weekend, here's Friday, mid-90s. Saturday, I expect mid-90s as well. Sunday, we start to creep up a little bit more, so mid to upper 90s. And then on Monday, we should push 100 degrees. On Tuesday, we're going to push 100 degrees once again. And then on Wednesday, a front slides in, and that will be our opportunity to cool down a little bit and also get some rain. But over the next 7 or 8 days, not a whole bunch going on. 89 for us tomorrow, 93 on a Thursday, 95 Friday, 96 Saturday, 98 on Sunday. So we start really warming up as we head into the weekend, but mainly dry. At least a good chunk of us got some really beneficial rain yesterday with the remnants of Beryl rolling through.
Yeah, it just seemed to downpour for a little bit in some
did.
spots. Heard that thunder out there. All right, thanks, Doug. Well, coming up in sports, the Joplin Outlaws and the Nevada Griffins both try to snap losing streaks tonight. John Dales has highlights and scores from both of those games and more up next.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. The Joplin Outlaws have hit a rough patch in their season. After holding the second place spot in the Mid-America League standings for most of the summer, the Outlaws have lost 8 of their last 10 and dropped into a tie for third. Joplin Outlaws at home tonight trying to snap a 4-game losing skid, taking on Fort Smith, who jumped in front of Joplin to second place. Pitchers duel early on. Fort Smith starter Zeke Hirsch gets a couple of swinging strikeouts early. He'd strike out 6 over 7 innings. Joplin starting pitcher Eric Hyken just as locked in. He picks up 2 of his 7 strikeouts on the day in the first couple innings. Hyken would pitch 7 2/3 innings, allowing 2 runs. Bottom of the 5th inning, still scoreless, no one out. Will Doherty breaks his bat and grounds into a 5-4-3 double play. Next batter, Shu Kitagawa, who got injured in the first game of the summer. Just his 3rd game of the season, he picks up a huge RBI single to break the scoreless tie. He's fired up about that. Next half inning, Hyken still cruising on the mound. He gets a 4-6-3 double play to keep it a 1-0 Joplin lead. This one stays close all the way to the finish, but the Outlaws win a close one. Final score 3-2. They snap that 4-game losing streak. Over in the Mink League, the Nevada Griffins at home tonight as well, taking on the Sedalia Bombers in a doubleheader. The Griffins fall 6-2 in Game 1. Second contest much more competitive though, not over yet, but as we come on the air, Nevada trails 6-5 in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's also that time of year when junior college baseball players move on to their next school. Over the past week or so, several Crowder Rough Riders have announced their commitments. Now here's a look at 12 of the most recent commits coming out of Crowder. The list features 8 Rough Riders that are advancing to Division I schools. Among them, Nick Moten, who's going to the Big 12 Conference in Houston. Right-handed pitchers Nick Potter, Carson Richard, and Aaron Arnold. All 3 of them are headed to Wichita State. 2 more right-handed pitchers, Ashton Branson and Landon Grigg. 2 of them are going to Dallas Baptist and Louisiana Monroe, respectively. Then Jake Pinnell is committed to Central Arkansas, and infielder and outfielder Ethan Fender, he's moving on to Oral Roberts University. Over to Major League Baseball, the Royals and Cardinals play each other just 4 times in the regular season, twice in St. Louis, twice in Kansas City. The first of those 4 games supposed to be tonight at Busch Stadium. However, the decision was made early this afternoon to postpone this evening's game, which makes tomorrow a doubleheader in St. Louis. First game of the 2 will be at 12:45. The second one scheduled right now for 6:45. As it stands right now, the Royals and Cardinals, both 6 games above 500. That's good enough right now for a wild card spot in the National League, but not in the American League. Just to have 2 teams competing, though, for playoff spots, it's a far cry from what we've been used to the last couple of summers with the Royals and Cardinals, so it's nice to have 2 teams in the mix.
Yeah, it's nice to, I hope they both can go really far.
Yeah.
Obviously, only one of them can go all the way. All right, we're back with more news after this. Scientists are going to new depths of ocean research. Fox's Kaylee Tracy has more on the story.
USF and the Florida Institute of Oceanography crews prepped their new remotely operated vehicle, Taurus, for its first mission Monday. The remotely operated vehicle, an ROV, can reach depths of 2.5 miles, opening the door for exploration of some of the ocean's most remote areas.
We probably know more about the surface of the moon than we do in the deep ocean, and so having that opportunity, particularly here in the Gulf of Mexico, where we have so much going on with regard to our economy, right? It's a big deal for us.
Taurus lets scientists live stream HD images of what the ROV sees and has sensors that can measure things like salinity and temperature.
This capability just doesn't exist anywhere close by.
Taurus is one of just 2 tools like it tied to a university in the U.S. The other is in Hawaii. An unprecedented opportunity not just for students, but for the community.
And we're already, with the College of Marine Science and the Florida Institute of Oceanography, recognized worldwide as kind of a powerhouse in the oceanographic space. But this is really only going to kind of propel us, to the next height of what we do in ocean research.
The ROV is a partnership between the Florida Institute of Oceanography, USF, the Office of Naval Research, and the private sector.
We approached the Navy, the Office of Naval Research, about a program that we would like to start. They love the idea of doing this for workforce development because they see problems with their own workforce in the future.
The multi-million-dollar machine is housed on the research vessel Western Flyer at USF St. Pete, with technology on board, scientists say, that lets them study just about anything in the depths of the unknown. Kaylee Tracy, Fox 13 News.
Well, Brad Pitt has a new flick and Marvel teases a new show. That and more Hollywood news coming up. Brad Pitt gets in the driver's seat and Duran Duran plans a spooky celebration. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has those stories and more in the Hollywood Nation.
Pitt races, Agatha returns, and Duran Duran bring back the spooky spirit in the Hollywood Nation. Duran Duran have set their plans for Halloween. The legendary British band will bring the spooky spirit to New York City's Madison Square Garden October 31st with their Dance Macabre Halloween party. The first Halloween show they performed was in Las Vegas in 2022, which inspired their 2023 album Dance Macabre. In addition, the group will also play several East Coast shows in the days leading up to the special holiday performance.
Another beautiful day.
Kathryn Hahn is back as Agatha Harkness in today's First Looks. Hahn reprises her role from the WandaVision series for the spin-off Agatha All Along. The show follows Agatha as she assembles a coven of witches and sets out on a journey with them to help her restore her powers. It premieres on Disney Plus September 18th. Brad Pitt takes on the world of Formula One racing in the trailer for F1. Pitt stars alongside Damson Idris, playing a veteran driver who returns to the sport to team up with a rookie driver on the fictional Apex GP team. The high-speed adventure heads to theaters in the summer of 2025. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of panda twins in South Korea. Love these guys. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.